Welcome to Louisiana Football TV Magazine with your host, Lee Burkeen.
Hi, I'm Lee Burkeen with Louisiana Football TV Magazine. We have a great show tonight. We have a sports agent, one of the top sports agents in the United States for the NBA. He's a Shreveport native but lives in Baton Rouge and has a law firm here. We also have three great administrators. One is an AD from Airline High School in Bossier City, Central High School, the associate principal, and also the assistant principal at Parkview Baptist. We're going to introduce them later in the show. We're going to be talking about high schools all over Louisiana. We're going to talk about sports law, and that'll be a very interesting segment when we come back.
Hi folks, John Adams from Mansfield Auto World. Listen, we know you have choices when you're in the market to buy a new vehicle. But Mansfield Auto World wants to challenge you that our dealership should be your only choice for getting it right. You haven't shopped a dealer more serious about what you want, about the customer service you deserve, about service after the sale that makes you want to come back. Give us a chance to prove it. Call 872-4646 or shop MansfieldAutoWorld.com. We are the marketplace for Chevrolet and Buick.
Last year we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elite Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Adlita Nutrition.
Adlita Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
The leader in orthopedic care for over 60 years, North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic. With state-of-the-art diagnostic, treatment, surgical, and rehabilitation services. You can expect the quality of metropolitan health care with the convenience of a local practice and a team of people who truly care about your recovery. 12 orthopedic doctors, 3 sports medicine specialists, 1 goal, getting you back in the game. North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic.
Hi folks, John Adams from Mansfield Auto World. Listen, we know you have choices when you're in the market to buy a new vehicle. But Mansfield Auto World wants to challenge you that our dealership should be your only choice for getting it right. You haven't shopped a dealer more serious about what you want, about the customer service you deserve, about service after the sale that makes you want to come back. Give us a chance to prove it. Call 872-4646 or shop MansfieldAutoWorld.com. We are the marketplace for Chevrolet and Buick.
Last year we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elite Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Adlita Nutrition.
Adlita Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
Papa John's Pizza for the great pizza, better ingredients, better pizza. We eat lots of pizza after the show, and we had a lot before the show, so we appreciate their support. Papa John's Pizza, we've got a great lineup. Our first guest, before we put the camera on him, he's a good friend of mine. His name is Oscar Schoenfeld. He's an attorney in town, and many years has a law firm here next to Varsity Sports, and one of the better attorneys in the state of Louisiana, and also a sports agent. I've been an NBA agent for many years, represented a lot of NFL players in the past. He's going to get his license again to do that in the near future. Oscar, glad to have you on the show. First time?
Actually, it's my second time. I think I was on here once before.
Way back,
many years ago, but thanks for having me. And that pizza was delicious.
I don't want to ruin your diet, but I know that you like pizza.
I do love it.
You're from Shreveport, and you played at Captain Shreve in the glory days of state championships. You weren't on the state championship team, but as you say, 2 years later.
I think it was 1974 was a championship team. I graduated in '72. Coach Hedges was the coach, and we were 10-1-1 my junior year and 11-1-1 my senior year. My last game was at Tad Gormley Stadium against St. Augustine in New Orleans.
They didn't have Leonard Fournette back then, but they had some good players back then too. But you played with Bo Harris, who played for the Cincinnati Bengals, had a 10-year career with the Bengals, was a linebacker, great LSU linebacker. Harper, the running back that played with the Bears, great running back. You had some other players on your team. You want to mention some other guys at Captain Shreve, some that still might see the show in Shreveport or Baton Rouge?
Let's see, David Abney, Richard Hiller, Bob Pettit, David Ham, Terry Eberhardt. So I can probably go down the whole roster. Craig Springmeyer, Barry Kimball.
We're going to show a picture pretty soon of your playing days.
Okay. Can I, hopefully it's not too bad.
It's a black and white picture. It's an old picture.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Not even color, but we'll have that up. It's you blocking as an offensive lineman here. And who was the opponent here in 1972?
I think that's actually Airline.
Bossier City.
It was located in Bossier City. That's Jimmy Clayton, who played at LSU, and a guy named Ed Lloyd, who was our running back.
Which one was Clayton? The
Clayton is the tall guy kind of watching me back there.
You're leading here on an outside sweep to help block.
I think it's a 48 GO. We pull both guards back in the day, kind of the Green Bay sweep type thing.
Amazing.
Yeah. I was extremely fast but very uncoordinated. That's why I played offensive line.
You know, what was it like playing then, Oscar, and now you see, you know, we're in 2014, and you see the guys that are 350 on the O-line, and, you know, they're 300 pounds. You got 250-pound running backs. And
well, I'd probably be scared to even get out there now. I've played at about 175, 180 pounds. But I think high school football is one of the greatest things ever. It really changed my life and helped me. And I was talking with one of the principals, and it's, you know, some of the closest friends that you have and will have in your life are people you went to high school with. I'll be 60 actually in April.
Yeah.
So you go look back on those days and just treasure them while you have them, because it's the best times you have sometimes.
Well, the show, you can see the show in Shreveport and Bossier City and Caddo and Natchitoches from where you're from, and obviously it's produced in Baton Rouge, and you still have family and friends in Shreveport.
I have a few people that call me friend up there, not any family, but yeah, I do actually have tried a case, and I actually testified in a case as a sports agent there last year in Shreveport, in Caddo Parish.
To move on about sports agents, people that watch the show, you know, a lot of people don't really know much about it. I know they know these guys have sports agents that play in the NFL and the NBA and professional hockey and professional baseball, but in many other leagues, soccer now. But why did you become a sports agent many years ago, starting with the NBA? What made it, I mean, was that just a dream that you had?
I had a dream to always be involved in sports, and I wanted to be an agent. I guess everyone has this fantasy that loves sports of being an agent, and I had the opportunity since I was practicing law with a great group of guys, and in 1988 I just decided to become certified. As an agent, you have to be certified by the union. This is part of labor law. I actually am a professor at LSU in sports law. So what happens is the union has to certify you to represent a player who's part of the bargaining group with the owners. And you have to be certified, which it's more stringent now than it was in 1988. But I just got certified, and it just said if I sign someone, I sign someone. If I don't, I don't. I worked on it a couple of years and signed a few guys, and then I signed a guy named Stanley Roberts in 1990, who was wanted to be one of the top NBA draft picks. And just kind of, as I tell Stanley, there's very few people that actually change your life.
Here's the picture of you and Stanley.
Yeah, yes, he is a large guy.
7 foot tall.
Yes, 7 foot. And I told him, I said, there's very few people that actually change your life, but you changed my life. We shortly after signing him, we flew to Spain, and I signed a deal with Real Madrid. He played there, and the next year he went in the first round of the NBA draft.
And I'm glad he went back to college. Here's a picture of him, dunking.
Now that's at Real Madrid. You can see Stanley's probably has one of the greatest, as a big man, some of the greatest moves I've ever seen
That's in Spain, correct?
That's in Real Madrid, yes.
Yeah, and you know, I remember this, Oscar, and you know this, but coming out of high school, when Stanley came out of Lola Richland, South Carolina High School, and Childers, his coach, became an assistant with Dale Brown, and Shaq came out the same year out of San Antonio, Texas. Stanley Roberts was the more highly recruited player coming out of high school.
I don't know if that's
more upside.
Yeah,
More upside.
Stanley actually came out a year before Shaq, and he was a Proposition 48, and therefore Shaq came in and they played together. Stanley only played 1 year, but he and Shaq and Chris Jackson played together there at, I think it was 1989 season. And Stanley then came out, and that's when I signed him.
Yeah, but Shaq was about 240 out of high school, where Stanley was a big guy out of high school. He was more advanced. And then, you know, Stanley had a good career in the NBA, and he got his degree at LSU recently.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the fact that maybe he didn't do as well in the NBA as he thought he could have done, but he did go back to school and get his degree, and he's a great person. Stanley's just always been a really gentle person, a person that would give the shirt off your back to anybody. So
we're going to take a break, Oscar. When we come back, we're going to talk more about some of the clients that you've represented in the past in the NBA, and also some of the NFL guys that you represented back in the day, like Rufus Porter, who played for the Seattle Seahawks and the New Orleans Saints, if you remember, if you're a New Orleans native or Baton Rouge or anywhere in Louisiana. Rufus Porter was a heck of a linebacker for the Saints back in his day. We'll talk more with Oscar Schoenfeld and more when we come back. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment. Check out our Facebook for the magazine, www.facebook.com/LA Football Magazine, or Twitter us at LA Football Mag TV. Social media is big, and it's big in sports, but also I want to thank our State Farm agents, Carl Morrow, and also Brian Moe. Brian Moe's in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway, and Carl Morrow is on Bluebonnet Boulevard. Be sure to give them a call. They're big supporters of high school and college football and what we do here on our show every week. Be sure to give them a call. I want to continue with Oscar Schoenfeld. who's represented many, many NBA players over the years, and he's getting back in the NFL. But there was a unique story that we'd like to talk about on one of your clients, Irvin Johnson. If we could get his picture up, who had a great career. Oscar, you'd like to talk about how you met Irvin, and an interesting story.
Very interesting story. I could probably lose that sweater, though. Yeah, Irvin was an amazing young man and has grown into just a wonderful man, example of what you can do if you want to change your life and you have certain beliefs. He went to Jonesville High School. He didn't play basketball. And when he graduated from high school, he was only 6'3". And being the man he was, he went down to Baton Rouge and got a job working in a grocery store. And he worked there for several years. And he started growing. And he grew 8 inches. So amazing. Here he is after several years. That's me and Irvin and my son back in the day. But he's in the grocery store, and he's 6'11". He's working in Baton Rouge, and people keep saying, do you play basketball? Which people tend to do that when you're 6'11". But, right. And he felt at that point that God wanted him to play basketball. Mm-hmm. And he could take advantage of that. And he went to LSU, and there was Shaq and Stanley. Then he went to UNO. And the story is, on the last day when you can sign, he went in there, and Tim Floyd was the coach. And someone said, well, Irvin Johnson's here. He wants to try out. Floyd goes, that's a joke, right. Whatever. And he says, no, come on, check this guy out. And they go out, and a 6'11" guy standing there. And Floyd goes, where'd you play high school basketball? And Irvin said, Coach, I didn't play. He says, well, run the parking lot. So he had one scholarship left, and he gave Irvin a shot. And I got to say, this is the kind of thing where Irvin was the first one in his family to go to college. He had to struggle with academics. He had to struggle to learn play basketball. And after a year, Coach Floyd was going to perhaps send him to a junior college, and Irvin just looked at him with tears in his eyes and said, Coach, just give me a little more time. And that's when he really started developing, and ended up being, after several years, just working as hard as he could work, which he did his entire career. He was a first-round NBA draft pick, and he was in the NBA for 13 years, and he was the kind of guy that made the absolute most of the talent that God gave him. And he's a great father, and that's what he's been doing for the last 7 or 8 years since he retired, is raising his 2 daughters in Denver.
It's a great story.
Just a great guy to work for.
And I remember watching him play over the years. He was a spark guy in his career, a 6-man, one of the top 6-man guys in the league. He did everything well, like you said, everything. But I didn't remember him being at LSU.
No,
start off.
He didn't go to. He came in to try to go to LSU. He played at UNO.
Bad time to go when Shaq and Stanley's on the roster.
There was some talent there.
Getting back to you teach sports law at LSU for several years.
That's true. Yes.
And currently, what is it like with the future of agents and people that want to get in the business? And is there a message you would have for any young people that are, some of them that you've taught at LSU recently?
Well, actually, when I'm teaching class, there are some people that want to be an agent. It's a very tough business. It's actually a very kind of ruthless business. I wouldn't recommend it as your primary occupation. I was fortunate enough to be an attorney also, so I really didn't have to totally depend on it for my income. But it can have its rewards, and I gave it up for several years, and I'm just getting back into it because I feel like I do miss it some, and I do miss guys like Irvin and Stanley and Rufus Porter and the guys that played for me, and Willie Williams. I mean, they're kind of like my family now, so that's what I enjoyed about it, but it is a tough, very tough occupation.
We have another picture of Brent Johnson that we'd like to pull up. You call him BJ. He's a scout for the Rockets, Houston Rockets.
This is us back in the day. BJ is one of the best people ever. He knows everything about basketball. He's been a scout for the Rockets now for 17 years, and that's another one of my clients, Damon Jones, that I represented for several years when he was trying to get into the league.
I remember when you were early on in your career, I think we have a picture with an NFL board laid out back in the 90s. If we could pull that up. This is your war room, I guess?
That's kind of the war room I had. I do look younger there, Lee. You caught me with that one. But we enjoyed it. We had some good law partners, and we all were able to work on it together a little bit, and it was a lot of fun.
I'm taking it you had that Saints helmet in your hand because Rufus Porter was your current client.
Rufus signed a nice deal with the Saints after he went was at Seattle for several years.
That was the pre-Super Bowl teams.
Yes.
We're going to come back. We're going to have one of your former clients call in and current friends. Friend of mine, Willie Williams, that played offensive tackle at LSU, also in Toronto for Doug Flutie, and with the New Orleans Saints. He's from Houston, Texas. He's calling us from Texas. So we'll be back with Willie Williams in just a moment.
Hi folks, John Adams from Mansfield Auto World. Listen, we know you have choices when you're in the market to buy a new vehicle. But Mansfield Auto World wants to challenge you that our dealership should be your only choice for getting it right. You haven't shopped a dealer more serious about what you want, about the customer service you deserve, about service after the sale that makes you want to come back. Give us a chance to prove it. Call 872-4646 or shop MansfieldAutoWorld.com. We are the marketplace for Chevrolet and Buick.
Last year, we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elita Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Elita Nutrition.
Adlita Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
The leader in orthopedic care for over 60 years, North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic, with state-of-the-art diagnostic, treatment, surgical, and rehabilitation services. You can expect the quality of metropolitan health care with the convenience of a local practice and a team of people who truly care about your recovery. 12 orthopedic doctors, 3 sports medicine specialists, one goal, getting you back in the game. North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic.
Hi folks, John Adams from Mansfield Auto World. Listen, we know you have choices when you're in the market to buy a new vehicle. But Mansfield Auto World wants to challenge you that our dealership should be your only choice for getting it right. You haven't shopped a dealer more serious about what you want, about the customer service you deserve, about service after the sale that makes you want to come back. Give us a chance to prove it. Call 872-4646 or shop MansfieldAutoWorld.com. We are the marketplace for Chevrolet and Buick.
Last year, we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elita Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Elita Nutrition.
Adlita Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
Welcome back. I'm Lee Burkeen. We have Oscar Schoenfeld, an attorney and sports agent here in Baton Rouge. He's worked all over the United States with the NBA, all the way to Spain with clients, and getting back into the NFL line of work. And I want to go ahead and introduce one of his former NFL clients who had a pretty good career at LSU. Is known for his catch on the winning drive with Eddie Fuller the night the stadium shook against Auburn. When Eddie Fuller caught that pass, there was a 4th down catch that needed to be made, and it was Willie Williams as a tight end. And Willie ends up being an offensive tackle in the NFL with the Saints, and he went to Toronto and blocked for Doug Flutie, where I think they won a championship in Canada. But we're going to go ahead and I want to introduce Willie Williams. Glad to have you.
Hey, thanks, Lee. Thanks for having me.
I haven't talked to you in many years, but
it has been.
Enjoyed. We've got Oscar Schoenfeld here in studio, and I know it means a lot to him to have. It means a lot to him to have you call in as one of his clients, and having him here and you call in is a special moment, I think, for you and him probably.
Absolutely. I've known Oscar for many years. He was my main guy. He took care of me during my career, NFL, Toronto, NFL Europe. So, we've become really, really good friends over the years. So it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be able to call in and speak to you guys on the show.
Willie, I know you're in Dallas, Texas now, and if any LSU fans need to find you, I think you're at the Ritz-Carlton. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. I am a bartender at the Ritz-Carlton, and it's funny you say that because every time LSU play here in that first game over in, we call it down here, we call it Jerry's World. But Texas Stadium, we get a lot of LSU fans that come in and stay at the hotel. So over the years, I think a lot of the LSU fans, they are aware that I do work over there. So we have a real good time when they come in town.
Willie, I want to brag about you for a minute. I know that when you were in high school in Houston, Texas, you were given an opportunity to go D1 basketball with Georgetown and some of the big programs, and you were 6'6", and you chose to go play tight end at LSU, which turned into a pro career for you. You played for the Saints, but what was it like choosing football over basketball during that time? And I think John Thompson recruited you, correct, from Georgetown?
Absolutely, absolutely. I ended up I played basketball in middle school and high school. I didn't actually start playing football until my junior year in high school. So I was always a basketball player. I always believed that someday, that I would play professional basketball. So all of a sudden I ended up playing football my junior year just because of friends and peer pressure, to be honest. And, when it came up that all of a sudden I looked like I could be a decent tight end on the collegiate level, it was an honor, number one. And so my whole deal was, it was like either choose what was your best shot at 6'6", playing on a professional level. So all of the football coaches I thought was kind of funny because the way they recruited me, they were like, listen, you're only 6'6", Willie. You would have to play point guard, in the NBA, but, at 6'6" at tight end, you'll be a spectacular size for a tight end. So that pretty much made my decision, for me that I was going to go and play collegiate football.
Willie, what was it like to be represented and have an agent like Oscar Schoenfeld? And here's a man that represented you in your early career with the Saints when you were a tackle with the Saints, and then later in your career when you were at the Toronto Argonauts with Doug Flutie as a quarterback.
Absolutely. I always say I got lucky with Oscar because, Oscar has a great criminal mind. He's a trial lawyer, and I think he had been doing that maybe about 10 years before he and I had ever met. So, when he decided that he was going into the NFL agent business, I was lucky just because he was already groomed, to negotiate NFL or NBA contracts. For the simple reason, a lot of those teams, a lot of those guys who negotiate contracts for those professional teams are actually lawyers for the most part. So I kind of got lucky with him because I knew that once you get a guy like Oscar, number one, I was like, he wouldn't be intimidated, by another attorney because he's used to that on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So, and he was just very thorough. The deal about Oscar, I mean, he prepared his athletes, for life after professional sport. And back then, you didn't hear that a lot from most of the agents, I can say, that recruited me and most of my peers. So, I thought that was extremely unique. And like I said, I just got lucky with him. I mean, I love him to death.
One final thing, Willie, mentioned anything for the LSU fans? What do you think LSU is going to do against Wisconsin in Reliant Stadium, that first game coming up this coming season?
Well, LSU does well when they come in Texas. I mean, and, you got a great fan base here. Actually, I was shocked of the type of fan base that LSU have just right here in Dallas, Texas. And I hear it's the same way in Houston. I think they'll do well. I mean, LSU is extremely competitive. We had a lot of young guys on defense this summer, this off season. They get a chance to mature. Of course, we got to find us a QB. I know the guys down there make sure that they find one. I'm very excited about LSU this year. I think they'll do well against Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin is a great squad. got a lot of respect for them. I just think LSU, personally, I just think LSU is just too athletic for most teams, actually.
Willie, Oscar wants to tell you, he wants to talk to you a little bit right here.
I just want to say hello, and I thank you for the kind words after
hey,
all
Oscar,
these
how
years.
You doing, brother?
Doing well, and I did want to tell the audience that we're hoping your daughter gets to come to LSU. And,
Absolutely,
we
yeah.
spent some,
She is. She's a true LSU fan, Oscar. You know, I mean, it's in her blood. Her mother went to LSU, so she's very excited about getting a chance to attend LSU this year.
all right. Well, take care, my good friend.
Thank you,
Hey,
Willie.
it's good hearing from you, Oscar Lieber King. Hey, man, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
I will see you in Dallas soon. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oscar, tell everybody, I mean, you're local. You have a law firm here in Baton Rouge. You're right across the street from Varsity Sports.
Yes, I am, and I've been there since 2002. I enjoy the practice of law. I do personal injury work, do some auto cases and some other kind of litigation. But yes, I've been very blessed, and my daughter's also a lawyer. And I have to just plug, my son's also in medical school, and I got a daughter who's going to be a teacher and another daughter who's been working as a dental assistant right now. So I've been very blessed. So I have no complaints at all.
All going through college and right one
That's
after
why.
another.
That's why you have to be a good lawyer these days, you know, with 4 kids. But it's gone well, and I have really been very grateful for everything.
Any final thoughts for the audience, Oscar, people watching all over Louisiana, parts of East Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas and Mississippi, about the sports agent business? Any final thoughts?
I wouldn't have any thoughts particularly about the sports agent, just I wish everybody well, and I really think that sports is great. I know you emphasize high school, and again, when I played high school football, I have great friends from those years. It really helped me to develop as a person, and I had some great coaches, and one of them, I want to mention 2 of them, were Coach Lee Hedges and Coach Billy Jack Talton. And Coach Powell, of course. I still remember those guys and think about them. So.
Lee has a stadium named after him at Captain Shreve. Had a chance to meet Lee, who was still volunteer coaching. 4 or 5 years ago, I met him there with the staff. Great man. Appreciate you being on, and I want you to choose LSU hat or a Superior Grill gift certificate.
I got to go with the LSU hat. Can I put it on like I'm a recruit? Yeah.
Like you're signing.
Yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Oscar. We'll be back. Speaking of high school, we have 3 very good high school administrators. We're going to introduce all 3 of them when we come back. We'll be back in just a moment. Check out our Facebook. Go to www.facebook.com/LA Football Magazine or Twitter us at LA Football Mag TV. When you like our Facebook magazine, you can keep up with who's coming on the TV show every Tuesday night, which is kind of good because we bring on people from all over the state of Louisiana. That's what we do. You know, we don't just cover Baton Rouge. We don't just cover New Orleans. We bring in North Louisiana, South Louisiana, the river parishes, Lake Charles, St. Tammany, you name it. We bring everybody on. And tonight, we have a good mix. We've got Central High School, the associate principal to my left. Mention who you are for the audience.
Nathan Corley.
And originally from Sabine Parish.
Sabine Parish.
I want to get that right.
Little town of Florine.
And we have Becky Madden from Parkview Baptist. And your title at Parkview, I don't want to get it wrong.
Assistant Principal, Dean of Students.
Dean of Students. And the AD, Athletic Director, to her right is Ronnie Coker from Airline High School in Bossier City.
That's right.
Glad to have all three of you tonight in a busy year. Glad that the weather's better, though. It's not as cold. And having you here means a lot to us. But I want the reason to get principals on and also athletic directors, because we usually have recruits and coaches. And it's good to hear the opinions of the administrators that actually run the school. To talk about sports programs. And I know we're a football show, but you know, off the air we talked about all the different programs that these three adults have to keep up with on a daily basis of being at the school. I want to start with you, Nathan, about Central High School. You're from Sabine Parish. You've been here for 13 years. Central's good in baseball. I know they're really good in football the last few years. They've got history with football, going back to Steve Ensminger and Sean Burks and the McClures in baseball. Is it 4 state titles in baseball?
I believe so.
Other sports programs that you were talking about that are at Central High School?
We've got bowling, tennis, swimming, golf, men's and women's soccer. We have a club lacrosse team now. There's really something for any kid who wants to get involved in sports.
Do you have to attend all of those major events?
The major home events, football, I have to attend all of those. The others we can split up some amongst all of the administrators, but I get a taste of all of it, that's for sure.
See, people don't realize that, you know, you have to work at the school all day and then you have to show up every Friday night.
Right.
You have to be there. And to your right, we have Becky Madden at Parkview Baptist. I'll say this is a good thing, from Wisconsin.
Menominee Falls, Wisconsin.
Okay. How far is that from Wisconsin University?
Oh, it's about an hour and a half.
And from Lambeau Field?
About an hour and a half.
So you are a Packer fan, obviously.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Born and raised.
And I've got to mention this first. LSU plays in Lambeau Field, which I think is the coolest thing ever in 2 years.
Well, it's one of the most historic fields, stadiums there is around the country. So it's going to be a great game.
Owned by the people?
Yes, yes.
To your right, Ronnie Coker, the athletic director from Airline in Bossier City. We're going to talk more about Parkview, but as far as the AD, I mean, you're heavily involved, Ronnie, with, you know, you're a former coach, and you know, you're from Mendon, Louisiana. I want to mention that. If people don't know where Mendon's at, it's, you know, Raymond Tate, the former late Raymond Tate running back, was the runner-up the Heisman Trophy from the University of Houston. When Houston was good before David Klingler, before Andre Ware back in the 70s. Their coach was a famous coach at the time at Houston. But now you're at Airline running a great program, and your football team, which had a young team this year, played, I think, the toughest schedule in 5A football in the state.
A very difficult schedule.
Neville, West Monroe, Parkway's best team ever.
Bird was good.
One of the great years that they've had, and it's the who's who of the scheduling, and you said it doesn't get any easier next year.
We'll have the same schedule next year, yeah.
All 11 playoff games, playoff teams. Incredible. Becky, your school, Parkview, over 12 state titles in baseball, great football program, named new coach, Jay Maillet, who's not new to the school.
No, he's been there for quite some time under head coach Kenny Giat, who just retired, and he's also his son-in-law. So he knows that program inside and out. He's great defensive coordinator, and he's going to be a great head coach.
And Kenny won 3 state titles. He did a pretty good job. Still the AD, I believe.
Yep, he's still there.
And at Central High, we've got Sid Edwards, head football coach. A history career with Redemptorist prior.
Sure.
Some state titles at Redemptorist.
Very well respected and very well liked in the community and out.
Bo Meeks at Airline High School. Some of the other coaches I'm not as familiar with. I know we're a football show, but Becky, we talk about the baseball program at Parkview and football, but Parkview has a lot of different sports programs as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we volleyball. I actually coach volleyball. A lot of the administrators also coach there at Parkview. So, I mean, obviously basketball, girls and boys basketball, track, tennis, cross country.
And you play college volleyball, correct?
I did.
That
did.
helps?
At Purdue University. Yes, it does help a little bit.
I want to give your husband a plug because he's a former LSU player.
Yeah.
Brian Madden.
Yeah.
And locally, very close to Les Miles on the sideline every football game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he actually has helped out at Parkview with the track program, shot put and discus, so he's always involved with Parkview as well.
I remember when he left Purdue to come to LSU.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to all our 3 guests again from our 3 high schools in Louisiana. We'll be back in just a moment. We're back. We're going to be talking to our high schools, Parkview Baptist, Airline High School, Central High School. Recently, Ronnie, I want to go ahead since you're an athletic director. The principals, I believe, the athletic directors, there's new rules put in place for this coming calendar year for football transfers. And I believe it depends on where you are in Louisiana. Maybe you can kind of
Well, we have starting next year, we have a parish-wide attendance zone. Like right now, present day, we have each school has its own district, or each public school has its own district. And then, but starting next year, like in Caddo Parish, you can live anywhere in Caddo Parish and be able to go to any school as an 8th grader going into your freshman year.
But after your freshman year, you'd have to sit out if you transferred again.
Yeah, if you transfer back to what your home school, your home district school, you know, by your house, you'd have to sit out 1 calendar year.
Do you like that? I mean, it's a tough thing.
Well, in Bossier Parish, we won't change because we'll have our own districts. We have 6 high schools in Bossier Parish. We have our own school districts. But we do have M&M transfers that some kids from Bossier High School may come as an M&M transfer to Airline or to Parkway.
Well, Airline's been putting out some good football players lately with O.J. Smith signing with Alabama, big nose guard, 6'2", about 310. He's got a chance to be a great player at Alabama. You've got John Thomas that signed with LSU at high school, 6'6", about 260 now. At Trinity Valley, Texas Junior College. He might go pro out of the junior college. Hayden Hildebrand, a quarterback, that signed, I believe, at Central Arkansas, baseball, football. And several kids coming up. Your son's on the team. I want to give him a little play. He's a junior offensive lineman at Airline.
That's right. Just got his ACT scores back, and he made a 32.
Wow. So, Ivy League will be calling.
Pretty proud of that.
But, you know, the offensive line at Airline next year's got a chance to be good. Your son returns with a lot of those guys, and I know they're going to probably have a new quarterback, possibly. I know the young man got hurt in the playoffs. James, I wish him a healthy return.
Yeah, Jacob tore his labrum, and he gets released in 3 weeks, I think. He can start throwing in June, I believe.
The competition in Bossier City this year was phenomenal in football. Being from Baton Rouge, I went up and watched the Airline Parkway game. It was like the Super Bowl of Bossier City.
That was pretty intense.
Brandon Harris, the quarterback, signed with LSU from Parkway, has an arm that you can't coach. And you know, Airline had a pretty good defense. They actually did a pretty good job with him that night.
That was a good game. We played well, and Parkway played well too.
Shreveport's got great football, and now Bossier City's it's a tough opponent now. Central High School's always good in football.
Yeah.
But again, you know, baseball's been great. Jake Meyer had a great year this year in football.
He did.
Signed with Nichols.
He signed with Nichols State along with Gary Triplett, also signed with Nichols. We had 6 guys sign college scholarships this year total.
In Parkview, the same thing. It's common that Parkview gets kids signed every year.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and many of them, they do want to stay closer to home, and so many of them are walking on to places like LSU.
Well, I heard the center, Luke Gomez, is going to play fullback at LSU. Is that correct?
Yes, he is.
That's a heck of a walk-on, by the way. Luke is, I watched him for 3 years, and 6 foot tall, about 290. He's supposedly going to lose some weight and get down to 260. But 6 foot 260 is a pretty big fullback, and he's a tough kid.
He's a tough kid. Great academics, tough kid. Yeah, you don't want to be facing him across that
I saw him in the weight room 2 years ago. Not even this year, 2 years ago. He was benching almost 405 on the bench press. I mean, so 500-pound bench press walk-on fullback, I don't think it'll be a walk-on very long. We're going to take a break. We have one more segment. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Airline High School, Central High School, and Parkview Baptist. We'll be back in just a moment.
Last year, we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elite Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Adleta Nutrition.
Adleta Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
The leader in orthopedic care for over 60 years, North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic. With state-of-the-art diagnostic, treatment, surgical, and rehabilitation services. You can expect the quality of metropolitan health care with the convenience of a local practice. And a team of people who truly care about your recovery. 12 orthopedic doctors, 3 sports medicine specialists, 1 goal, getting you back in the game. North Louisiana Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinic.
Hi folks, John Adams from Mansfield Auto World. Listen, we know you have choices when you're in the market to buy a new vehicle. But Mansfield Auto World wants to challenge you that our dealership should be your only choice for getting it right. You haven't shopped a dealer more serious about what you want, about the customer service you deserve, about service after the sale that makes you want to come back. Give us a chance to prove it. Call 872-4646 or shop MansfieldAutoWorld.com. We are the marketplace for Chevrolet and Buick.
Last year we implemented a nutritional program designed to enhance the overall performance of our athletes.
We've seen a measurable increase in our athletes' size, strength, speed, and power with a shortened recovery period.
The Elite Nutrition Program is the only program that combines the parent, the athlete, and the coaches to reach maximum performance.
If you're looking for game day performance, max out with Adlita Nutrition.
Adlita Performance Nutrition. Speed, strength, recovery.
Back, this is our magazine from this past summer. Last chance to get it. These are kids that just signed with their colleges. On the front row, the big tall kid with the light sky blue jersey, 6'8", 330, Bailey Grenier going to Vanderbilt in the SEC. First signee ever from South Lafourche, the Tarpons, ever to go to Vanderbilt. You might see him play next year at Vandy, 6'8", 320, and he's lean. That's amazing about these high school kids that y'all see every day walking in the hallways of the school.
Yeah. I don't think people realize how much work these kids put in, not just on the field, but in the weight room and running and training for endurance. It's a full-time job for these kids.
They get home at what, 9 o'clock at night sometimes from practice?
Right. And then they have to go do homework because they're still a high school student. Tremendous effort these guys have to put in, and girls.
And I know at Central they play other sports, especially at Parkview. They play baseball and football, and they have to juggle 2 sports and keep good grades.
Many of them are 2-sporters. I mean, we have to rely on that because we don't have the numbers of the larger schools. So many of them play 2-3 sports.
And that's tough studying. At the ACT, you got to get that in at a certain date of the year. You got to have it from the spring comes along. When colleges come in, they want to see a passing score. Want to mention that to parents that don't realize that. I know y'all tell parents all the time. Y'all have guidance counselors that do that. And Ronnie, even though y'all are a bigger school in Bossier City, you got kids that play baseball and football too, and basketball.
Yeah, we encourage more than one sport, and then that at least till their junior year. But just to mention ACT, we as a school-wide deal every morning for 16 minutes. We practice ACT every morning, everybody in the school.
And y'all mentioned that every day y'all have to meet on top of your school hours, have meetings.
Oh yeah, we have administrative meetings. We're K through 12, so we're meeting between divisions, not just within the high school. And then we are, assigned to watch other athletic events and drama plays that go on.
What's an average time to get home during a sporting calendar year during football season?
6 or 7, I guess, during the week, except on game days. Then it's 10 or 11 at night.
But you're at every Friday night game.
Yes.
Becky?
When I can, I also coach volleyball, so I'm also busy and out doing the games myself.
Well, during football season is really our slow time during the week because we have cross country, swimming, football, but during the winter when we have, soccer, basketball, wrestling, and the end of volleyball and the beginning of baseball, softball, it's very stressful.
Now bowling and lacrosse.
And we have bowling and lacrosse now, that's right.
Would y'all like to see the schedules cut down on the amount of games? There's a lot of baseball games, a lot of basketball games. Football's normal, but
the kids like it. I would hate to cut into a kid's season just because it, makes us too busy, obviously. Yeah. Should some of them be cut? Maybe, but I don't see a problem in general.
Becky?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily, they're able to do it. It's been working. Like he said, possibly some sports should cut down, but.
Yeah. What do you think about Ronnie distance playing teams across the state during the year, like during the season, having to drive, all over to play outside your district?
Well, during the regular season, we don't have to travel a lot.
Yeah.
But like Thursday, our girls play in Ponchatoula. That's a 5-hour trip. Our football team this past fall, we traveled to Covington. You know, wrestling coming to Baton Rouge. You know, soccer, New Orleans. So in the playoffs, that's when travel really.
While we're talking about travel, I want to give my condolences to all the families of Lafayette High School with the accident they had with the baseball team, I believe. You know, just wish everybody well and prayers to all the families involved. Any thoughts, Ronnie? You knew the baseball coach. You know the baseball coach at Lafayette High.
Well, I know Sam.
Sam.
And from what I understand, there was a car that lost control, and then ran head on into the bus. No one on the bus no fatalities on the bus itself, but there were some injuries on the baseball players.
And that's what I'm saying. People don't understand these kids are on the road all the time in school buses traveling for games. You know, and getting back late at night for playoff games, correct? I mean,
Absolutely.
all over the state.
Absolutely, and on the weekends as well.
It's amazing, the high school football championships, just that. I know we can talk about all the sports, but the amount of time you have to practice when you get to New Orleans, the Superdome, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, to when you actually play, and then when you have to leave as a team right after some of these kids, and everybody has to get put up in a hotel room. I mean, it's fast-paced. I know that every school wants to go to that championship game. Parkway was there from Bossier City. I know Airlines got a chance. Parkview's been there a few times. Central's come close lately.
We've come close. It's been a while since we've actually.
Anything else to mention, and I'm not mentioning on any other sports programs about Central High School?
Things are going pretty well. We've got a lot of. I know that track is getting geared up again. The bowling team is on a roll. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, on a roll.
Things are going pretty well.
Becky, Parkview Baptist, anything?
No, we're looking forward to seeing you know, our new football coach and what he's going to do for the spring training, and looking forward to next year, and just, you know, finishing up with all the winter sports right now.
And Ronnie, you talking about the facilities?
Yeah, we're
Airline?
getting. Well, our tracks will be finished March 14th. We won't be able to run on it this spring and host events, but our school is getting totally reconstructed within the next 3 years. So. We're very excited about that.
Not bad at Airline. Todd Walker is an alumni, and David Toms. You know, a couple of pretty good players in there. Thanks for watching. We'll be back later tonight and all week in Louisiana. We've got gift certificates for all our guests from Superior Grill. We'll see you later on.